Well, I've been thinking about what I want to share with you today for a week. Maybe it's actually been weeks or a year. Actually, I think maybe it's been decades that I've been thinking about what I want to share today. As you'll see, as we walk through this, it's been something that's been kind of bugging me or something that's been high on my mind for a very, very, very long time. Maybe you'll find that something that I say in here is worthy of sharing. Maybe you'll want to share it on social media. Maybe you'll want to let other people know about this. Maybe you'll want to let other people know about the channel. But anyway, maybe not. Maybe you'll just think it's a kind of an okay thing, and you could make some comments and add to what I'm saying here. There's going to be four parts. I think three of those will be today and one tomorrow, but it might end up being different than that. I've only written the first part here that I'm going to share with you now. The other three parts still need to be written, and so we'll see how that all plays out, depending on news and other things that might get in the way. But over the course of today and tomorrow, maybe stretching into Tuesday, we will get through my thinking here. Let me start with this from Mario Nawful today. Elon unveils blind sight to restore vision for the blind. Neuralink just announced blind sight, a new brain implant designed to restore sight in people who are completely blind. The device bypasses damaged eyes completely, entirely, sending visual data straight to the brain. Elon says the tech will go far beyond what is possible with biological eyes. So, in other words, being able to see another spectrum, etc. Neuralink will attempt its first human implant of blind sight later this year. A brain chip designed to restore sight to those who are completely blind. Elon said the device will start with low resolution vision, but could eventually provide capabilities that are quite superhuman. This follows Neuralink's earlier telepathy chip aimed at helping paralyzed patients control devices with their mind, including eventually their limbs. If successful, blindsight could mark one of the most radical leaps in medical and neural tech, turning the science fiction of vision restoration into a clinical reality. Then there's this in a groundbreaking milestone. Researchers at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and the University of Pennsylvania used CRISPR to deliver the world's first personalized gene editing therapy to an infant. KJ Muldoon gave him a rare urea cycle. He had a rare urea cycle disorder. Developed in just 6 months, the therapy corrected a unique genetic mutation, enabling KJ's liver to process ammonia effectively. Published in the New York, I'm sorry, do that again. Published in the New England Journal of Medicine, this achievement presented at the 2025 ASGCT meeting marks a new era for precision medicine. It offers hope for tailored treatments for rare genetic diseases, potentially transforming lives with unprecedented speed and accuracy. Coming up on May 27th, the ninth flight test of Starship is preparing to launch. The launch window will be open at 6:30 Central Time on Tuesday. Might take later, we never know. The upcoming flight test marks the first launch of a flight-proven super heavy booster. So they'll be reusing a super heavy booster, which previously launched and returned on Starship's seventh flight test. In addition to the reuse milestone, Super Heavy will fly a variety of experiments aimed at generating data to improve performance and reliability on future boosters. The Starship's upper stage will repeat its suborbital trajectory and target objectives not reached on the previous two flight tests, including the first payload deployment from Starship and multiple re-entry experiments geared towards returning the vehicle to the launch site for a catch. It won't be doing that. It won't be sending the Starship back to the launch site for a catch. It'll be experimenting with methods that will, in the future, maybe even on Starship 10, provide that result. So this is a pretty major trip for Starship 9, which, of course, is going to completely revolutionize space in the same way that the Falcon has revolutionized it up to this point and caused Starship SpaceX to be dominating in the space industry and Starlink to be taking over the world. Anyway, obviously, it says here, We are on the very cusp of the long wait for robotaxi. Cathie Wood reiterated her expectations that the total market cap for ride hail will reach $14 trillion out of a total personal transportation TAM of 27 trillion. She believes Tesla will get about half of that ride hail business at a 7 trillion market cap. This does not include the truck hauling business, the autonomous truck hauling business, which Semi will completely dominate starting in 2026, assuming, of course, that we do get the autonomous part. We're going to get trucks. I think we're going to get the autonomy too, but we'll see what happens there. This next, autonomous, autonomous, I got autonomous on the head. Optimus made major news this week with new videos that showed the Gen 2 version of Optimus able to replicate human actions from watching human actions. And the expectation is this will eventually be possible from watching videos, maybe like now, maybe soon. Has been seen by Robotaxi. That's what we're seeing with Robotaxi, the ability to have it view, if you will, a YouTube video and then be able to learn or be able to be trained by that YouTube video. So Optimus is going to follow suit. We're getting all of this new approach of sim to real. All of this is going to make it according to Tesla, is going to make it super much faster to be able to train Optimus and get them ready for action in factories and in distribution centers and in other workplaces, as well as eventually in your home. They also, in this particular time, we saw that Optimus is now operating about the same as the movements are getting much more human and the speeds are getting much more human. Well, then we got updates from Elon and others, including Scott Walters, that 2025 will see something over 1,000 Optimus being produced, and there will be several other companies probably making on the order of 1,000 humanoids. Then next year, and this year it could be as many as 5,000, according to Elon, but he seems to have backed away from that a little. And then 2026 should see 10,000 to 50,000 Optimus humanoids built, and other companies are also looking at maybe around the 10,000 level. I don't think anybody else is talking 50,000. 2027 could see 100,000 to 1,000,000 of these little guys made and deployed. So we're moving towards this. And Scott Walter, his most recent estimate, based on what he's seeing, is that we could be looking at that billion a year number by 2035 at this point. Well, the world this last week seemed to converge on the energy issue, with Trump putting nuclear on the top burner, calling for a complete restructure of the NRC and requiring approvals to be generated within 18 months of application. Now, this is going to be huge for the big nuclear reactors, but what it's really going to do, it should really give a big boost to the SMRs, the small modular reactors. Take into consideration that China is already making small modular reactors. We are behind them on small modular reactors now, but we have about, I think some people feel it's as many as 10 companies in the United States that are ready to go or in some phases, in some direction of getting to making these things in the factory, which would be a huge breakthrough and allow us to have on-site applications for these modular reactors, where they would be right there where the factory is. So anyway, this is huge breakthrough in the energy space for Trump to get the regulations out of the way, get the NRC out of the way, and get us back on track, again, because we're way behind China on this. Now, multiple podcasts spoke about the insatiable demand for energy, that they talked about the fact that energy equals wealth over and over and over again. This has now become a mantra that you didn't hear a year ago, but I've been talking about it since I was late teen or early 20s about energy and wealth being equivalents. I tried to develop a monetary system based on energy in a paper that I did in I think it was in early college. The race with China is also huge on everybody's mind right now with regard to energy, as China is sitting on over close to 3 terawatts of energy production right now, where the United States is about 1.3, and China is seeking to get to 9 terawatts, where the United States right now is only looking at getting to 2. Elon Musk, of course, mentioned about a week ago that he wants to produce 1 terawatt himself. So if the United States wants to add a terawatt, Elon wants to add a terawatt, and then the United States has 1.3, at least we would be keeping up on a per capita basis with China on their efforts to get to 9. Elon also said that we may run out of energy by the middle of 2026. And this could be for any of a number of reasons, including raw materials. It could be due to not be able to get permits in time, not be able to build facilities as fast as we need. It could be transformers. It could be utilities not being able to work fast enough with companies in order to get things deployed. There's transmission line issues. There's so many issues that are making it difficult to get to these numbers. But what I'm hearing more and more about, what we've talked about on the channel, what Brian Wang, Brian White, and all of us have talked about, is this idea of setting up these AI centers right on the energy field, putting it right where the gas is, putting it right where the thermal potential is. Some people have already been putting it right where the nuclear reactors already are putting it right where where you have existing dams. So there's lots and lots of ways to do this, but eliminating the transmission lines, and in some cases with solar, I heard a review yesterday was talking about the fact that maybe using solar, which is already created in DC, you wouldn't have to change it to AC and then back to DC in order to transmit it and then get it to into the data centers. So this solar could be a real answer in this whole thing. But what is the answer overall? Lots and lots of megapacks. Tesla would seem to be poised to take advantage of this energy deficit through existing products, especially megapacks and solar. Elon talked about the fact that every existing power plant in the United States could double its effectiveness through the use of megapacks. I kept hearing about this on all of these different podcasts that I've been listening to, is that you need, by bringing in the megapacks, okay, these AI data centers have peak uses and then they completely stop. And then they peak use and then they stop. It's not a smooth amount of energy that they're using. Well, when you've got those kind of peaks, that's not very good for any kind of power use, unless you have something to smooth that, and that would be the batteries. So I think I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that Tesla has to add even more of this megapack production than they've already told us about. With the 2 facilities in the United States and 1 in China. I think they will be building more soon. Of course, I believe that for a few years now, but now it seems like maybe, according to some resources that we're hearing from, maybe the order book is super, super, super full, and it might be time where the deployment can equal the amount of need that there is out there. I mean, there might even be more need for deployment of the megapacks than there is there may be more demand than there is supply. All right, Elon, I also think that Elon might do something with regard to solar, and this solar could be earthbound. It's really hard to compete with the Chinese here, but now there's tariffs on the Chinese solar panels and whatnot. Maybe there could be some opportunity for Tesla to utilize its knowledge and its abilities and its supply chains and whatnot to start doing massive solar deployments in the United States. I think it's more likely that maybe we would have some kind of a space-based solar approach, which Brian Wang has been talking about on my channel for over a year. And this would be an obvious thing for Tesla to do because of their ability to put things into space inexpensively, their understanding of solar, their understanding of energy, their ability to use it for their own factories, for their own facilities. I mean, everything about it would suggest that Elon should be looking at this space-based application, potentially, though, an Earth-based application as well. Now, data centers, of course, is what everybody's talking about. It's the biggest tech headline of all right now, with 4 U.S. companies attempting to scale their data centers faster than their competitions in hopes of being the first to reach general AI, which many believe will happen in the next 4 years. Well, of course, Elon, through X and Tesla, controls by far the most compute at this point, and the plans for both companies include massive additional deployment that should keep them in the lead permanently. So we've got Memphis, and we've got the Gigafactory in Austin, both with these gigantic computers, and of course Tesla producing their own chips, as well as making plans for 1 million of these little chips up in Memphis. Nobody's even got 1 million on their drawing board at this point in terms of deployment. All right, then there's the idea of a merger that came up this last week, a merger between Tesla and X. So X has just merged with xAI. That was a huge deal. And now all of a sudden somebody says, well, what about Tesla and X merging? This was in an interview the other day. And Elon says, well, it's not on the table right now, but the Tesla stockholders would have to approve that. Well, that would be a massive decision, and absolutely untold potential at this point. After you get the content creation from Twitter or X, you get the massive data center on the LLM side from xAI, and then you get the massive capabilities of Dojo, and the data center in Texas, combined with the use cases. It's just like you put it all together. That's pretty good verticality, if you ask me. Anyway, tons of meetings took place this last week, and they were basically focused on two things: data centers and energy. This is the number one thing right now. Over and over, we're told the U.S. must win both of these races. There's no good outcome if we don't. But then the Middle East, China says, well, they want to be number one in both energy and data centers. And believe me, they've got a lead on the energy side, not necessarily obviously not on the data center side. And then the Middle East is saying, no, we want to be number two, not China. And so we want to start building huge data centers here. And by the way, we have a little bit of energy going on. So we'll see what happens in that race between these three countries. But where does that leave the rest of the world? And in watching the Peter Diamandis show just a little while ago, they were talking about every single country in the world should be, and many are beginning to get it right now, they should all be in the business of having their own fabs, as the United States is building fabs right now. They were saying, hey, probably 100 countries out there should be building their own fabs. They should be building their own chip manufacturing facilities to compete with NVIDIA in a way. I mean, not really compete, but they should have their own domestic supply of these things, or they're going to be left way behind. Well, to add to all of that, this is all in just 2 weeks, okay? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've been hearing all this stuff. The disruption of the disruptors has now started this last week, with tons of speculation around the fact that Jony Ives and his company I/O are being purchased by Sam Altman. Now, this would seem like to be a major coup for Sam, and a major poke in the eye to both Apple and Google, who both seemingly lose, to the extent that if Jony Ives is bringing something of importance to Google, to OpenAI, this would be bad for both of those companies. Now, the word on the street is that there's a product involved, and it might be some kind of a pendant that you wear around your neck. And people say, well, we got used to the idea of people putting these buds in their ears. Maybe we can get used to the ideas of people wearing this giant pendant around their neck. I don't know. We'll see. Well, this would be your new iPhone. This will replace your iPhone. Well, Jeff Lutz, actually, just before this announcement, Jeff Lutz said the other day, Apple shouldn't be looking for a way to build iPhones in the United States per the fight that Apple's in right now with the president. They shouldn't be looking at a way to just move that production over here. They should be looking at what is the next product that will replace the iPhone. That's what they should build in the United States. And then, of course, these announcements were made with regard to Ives and with regard to this pendant possibility. All right, then Google and OpenAI both added tremendous new capabilities to their stacks, including a Google package that would require $250 per month subscription and includes a new AI version of search. Now, you can do this AI version of search. I don't know if you can or I can, but some people right now can use this new AI version of the Google search engine. It kind of reminds me of what you have now on Chrome. where you can, ask it for an AI version of search. So Google now is going to be offering that as well. Their stock, I think, actually went down as a result of them coming out with this, because people are worried that it won't be as easy to monetize as the stack that, or as the view that we have right now is monetizable. I'm not sure whether that's true or not, but Google has had to take this risk because at this point they're going to fall behind if they don't. So it's a huge step, but it has all kinds of possible alternative universes going forward. It could disrupt everything to the extent that Google has a AI version. Well, then you got Grok starting with an AI version, which may want to have a search version. You've got all the rest of them looking at ways to undermine search on Google. It's all different ways, and it's really hard to know how all this is going to pan out, but guaranteed it's going to be exciting and fun. So now you should also look for hundreds of products, and not 10, not 50, not 100, hundreds, maybe thousands of products over the next few months that are going to take advantage of reasoning and memory on your LLM. Almost, I think all the major LLMs now offer reasoning and memory. I've been using the reasoning for weeks and weeks and weeks on Grok. Now we've got memory on Grok. I'm starting to use the memory on Grok. The vast majority of people don't even know the memory's there. They probably haven't even used the reasoning yet. This is game changing. It's just completely game changing because you can now set up your own kind of managed systems, if you will, for doing the jobs that you're doing without even getting into fancy agents. You can just kind of create your own agency and say, hey, Grok, I want you to do this. And by the way, do it every morning. We'll see how that all works out. I haven't tried it yet. Anyway, these are massive critical changes. And the consequences are, you're just going to see lots and lots of product. So many products, it's so hard to keep up. Look for more than 100. Look for more than thousands of agents that will make your life and your job easier than it is now. Many many are saying now that white collar jobs are over by 2029. I don't agree. I do think there will be many white collar jobs eliminated. I think there'll be many clerical jobs eliminated. I think there'll be many customer service jobs eliminated, driver jobs, etc. I think there's going to be a lot of jobs eliminated, but I don't think that it's going to be as comprehensive. This elimination won't be as crazy as some people think it's going to be. It'll be 10 years, 15 years, not 5 years. Okay. And you'll see it because I was saying the other day, I have a client who just updated their basic computer system for their retail store for the first time in 20 years this year. This is the norm for small businesses, under 50 employees, under 20 employees, even many companies out there that are under 3 employees. They're not going to be part of this revolution. They are barely catching up with the past revolution. I used to, when I was selling, looking for new clients, I was always talking about the fact that this is like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, over 50% of small businesses had no internet presence at all. So this is how long it takes for people to really get involved. Anyway, there'll be jobs eliminated, no doubt about that. I think there'll be brand new jobs that'll be created, and the smart folks will figure out how to take advantage of the new dynamics. Okay, so the concept of technological acceleration leading to overwhelming change and anxiety. This is what I'm really talking about here. The technological acceleration right now is going to lead to overwhelming change and anxiety that may be caused by this overwhelming change. People can't keep up with this. I'm working at it full time. You might be spending a lot of time. I don't know how much time you're spending on it, but I can't keep up. There's no way I can keep up. Every day I'm scrolling through and I'm going, oh, I should go back and look at that video. Oh, I should go back and look at that video about how to do this particular thing, how to make a better image, or how to search better, how to prompt better, how to set up apps. I mean, I could never have set up an app, a year ago. Right now, apparently, it's really easy to set up an app, but who has time to go back and even watch the video to learn how to do the app? And this is what I'm talking about. So there's this idea that there will be the technological acceleration is just going to it's just going to go even faster and faster and faster. And many of us, even at the top of this learning experiment, people that are really into it and know it and understand it backwards and forwards and inside out are still going to be overwhelmed by the change. Now, Alvin Toffler first mentioned this idea in his 1970 book, Future Shock. He argued that the rapid change of technological and social change could outstrip humans' ability to adapt, causing disorientation and stress. He described this as future shock, a psychological state resulting from too much change in too short of a period of time. Earlier thinkers like Henry Adams in 1904, that was not an earlier thinker, that would have been after, 1904, yeah. Well, discussed a law of acceleration in technological progress. But Toffler was the first to explicitly link exponential technological advancement to widespread societal anxiety. And I think we're already seeing this. So the good news is that we're headed into an age of abundance, and that the poorest of the poor are likely to feel that impact in a profound way. On May 11th, just 13 days ago, Elon Musk posted on X, by enabling high-speed, low latency, and affordable internet globally, Starlink will do more to educate and lift people out of poverty than any NGO ever. No, he didn't go far enough, than anything ever. So the internet did it for about 4 billion people eventually, but now he's talking about bringing it to the other 4 billion that don't have that access. He emphasized that without internet access, children and poor, isolated children, adults in poor, rural areas lack educational opportunities beyond limited schooling, leaving them stuck. Musk highlighted Starlink's potential to provide global connectivity, enabling economic and educational opportunities in remote regions, with studies showing significant poverty reduction linked to broadband access. Now, if you add energy to that equation, so if you become educated and you now bring energy and good water to your area, now you can leapfrog. You can go from third world to first world in no time. We've seen it in South Korea. We've seen it in Singapore. We've seen it in Abu Dhabi. We've seen all these places where the meetings were taking place in the Middle East 50 years ago. You wouldn't have wanted even to travel there. Now they're some of the most expensive and desirable places on the planet. Well, but the bad news has to do with the unknown, the unknowable implications of all this change, with every futurist seeming to agree it will be amazing, but fraught with many, many potentially disastrous outcomes. In part two, we're going to take a look at the Trump impact, because the Trump impact happening at the same time, in the same era as we're seeing this other, is having, nobody can explain how Trump could be so on it, if you will, with regard to energy, with regard to AI, with regard to the reset that we need, with regard to the way that we do business around the world, with regard to the way we need to reset the U.S. government for the future, with regard to the way that we need to potentially look at cryptocurrencies and things of that nature as a way of monetizing and doing business, of the way of coming up with not only balancing the budget, but getting ahead of the budget by coming up with a sovereign wealth fund and putting all of our land and our other natural resources and things that are owned by the U.S. government into a situation where they are producing for all of us in the future, and providing an underpinning for future wealth for the entire country, including the poorest among us. Then part three will be all about the Elon Musk effect. Elon Musk is in both of these realms. He's in the technological realm. He's now in the government realm, even though he's pulling back and feels that he really needs to focus his attention on the technological rather than on the governmental, because that's where he believes he can actually get it done. He believes that he can change the world through his companies, which is pretty obviously true. And then we'll also talk, though, about the fact that he brings a moral component to that. And people recognize this. People are talking about the fact that he brings this moral component. Think about that for a minute. And then finally, in part four, we'll give you the ironic conclusion, because I think there's some irony in all of this that bears looking into. And we'll pull all three parts together and we'll give you a look at the future that what do I think it looks like? What do I think we'll get to see in the next 10 years that will be quite futuristic and quite interesting and quite different? And then maybe not so much. This is Randy Kirk. It's been great talking to you.